Hello, I'm Dr. Laura Murillo, President and CEO of the Houston Hispanic Chamber of Commerce. We are thrilled to have our first guest joining us, Representative Ana Hernandez, who has represented us so very well. She spends so much of her time in Austin advocating, especially for business, advocating for our region, and she's just done a stellar job, and we're always pleased when she joins us to give us her legislative update. Representative Hernandez, thank you for joining us.
Good afternoon, Dr. Murillo. Thank you so much for the invitation. And I also want to thank the Chamber for everything that you do in the community, especially this platform to be able to share information with our community.
Well, we appreciate it. It's so important. I know there's so much happening, but I want to start specifically with the congressional maps. For people who may not be aware of the significant impact that this has, can you please provide an update on the maps?
Absolutely. So yesterday we received a disappointing order from the U.S. Supreme Court upholding the maps that were passed during the special session of the last legislature. And just to give you a little bit of background in history, this is not normal for these maps to be redrawn in the middle of a decade. Normally, the process is there's the census. People fill out their census information as that is to gather and make sure where the population has grown, where it has shrunk, and how we can redistribute that representation by redrawing congressional maps and also state maps. So this is regarding just the congressional maps that Texas was given an order by President Trump to redraw those maps to ensure that they would prevail in these midterm elections. And so that's something that we as a Democratic caucus fought in the legislature and even left the state over the summer to prevent these maps from passing. And the importance is because that would diminish the voting power in our communities, especially our Latino communities, by redrawing districts. And so that is something that we felt that was unfair and illegal. Ultimately, the maps ended up passing, but we did raise the issue nationwide, and we saw California and Virginia and other states do a similar redrawing of their maps to balance the scales. And so the fight continues, even though the Supreme Court has issued their order, there is still litigation going on at the district level. And like I said, the most important part is to make sure that everyone's voice is heard, that maps are not drawn in a way where communities are silenced, that their voting power is not as strong as other communities.
Absolutely. And so for people who are listening, who might feel that this is out of their control, that they don't have a voice, what would you suggest to organizations, to individuals? How can they make sure their voice is heard, not only on this matter, Representative, but on so many others?
Voting. Voting is the way that you express your pleasure or displeasure with what's going on. So start by going, if you're in Harris County, to harrisvotes.com. Enter your information. Make sure that you are registered to vote, and make sure that your information is current, that your address, your name, if you've married or if you've divorced, that your name is current as well, and then you're ready for the next election. And most importantly, that November election, when we will be electing governor, lieutenant governor, members of the legislature, because it is the legislature that redraws these lines. And of course, we don't want this to continue in mid-decade redistricting, but it is coming up in the next decade, and especially for the people to participate in that census. It's important that everyone is counted.
Completing the census, and a reminder to people that voting is not just in November. There are elections throughout the year. It's important to keep up with them. I know that there may be some voter fatigue. It does matter. It does make a difference. So keep up with that. Go to the Harris County website to get information, understand what's at stake. A lot is at stake. Now, some people may not realize that your role as a state representative is something that you do throughout the year, and that you're gainfully employed as an attorney. So you are making your living, you're managing a family, you have your own career. When you're not in Austin, you're in Houston. So what is a representative like yourself doing and occupying your time with the rest of the time when you're not in Austin?
We'll say in our Constitution, we are a part-time legislature, but it is far from part-time. Our regular legislative session is every other year. So we convene in Austin for the legislative session the second Tuesday of every odd number year for 140 days, which is roughly until the end of May, early June. And that is when we pass laws that affect the entire state. Whenever we are not in session, which that time is shrinking as the governor continues to call us back for special session after special session. For instance, this past session, we were there until September instead of leaving at the end of May, early June. The previous session, we were there until December. And mind you, this is a part-time legislature. We do not have a full-time salary. Many times people think that we have congressional salaries. We do not. We get paid $600 a month for our service in the legislature. So many of us, have other jobs, other obligations that we have to attend to be able to continue to serve in the legislature and take care of our families. And so my occupation is an attorney, so I try to practice law whenever I'm not doing legislative work. But during the interim, although we are not in session, we have interim charges, which are directions given by the lieutenant governor and by the speaker, giving the legislature work to do over the interim in preparation for the next legislative session. Issues that are important, issues that we should be addressing, issues that maybe we need to revisit because there were unintended consequences. And so these committees meet on a regular basis. My committee, which is State Affairs, I'm Vice Chair of State Affairs, we deal a lot with the energy issues. And so we have dealt with the power grid right now, hot issue right now across the state, across the nation, I think globally as well, are data centers. As we see more AI implemented in employment, in education, these data centers are, locating here in the state of Texas. And so we need to make sure that we're prepared for what all that entails.
And on that note, the data centers and jobs and the committee assignments that you have been on are critical in terms of having that voice. And so you've been on some very significant committees. You're an attorney by training. How has you being an attorney, how has that helped you navigate these waters? And how has it helped you be a better representative?
I would say I would probably start that explanation with how I started in the legislature as an intern, as an undergraduate student at the University of Houston. I was an intern through the Texas Legislative Internship Program, and I started working in the legislature 28 years ago as an intern and also throughout law school. And I would say the law school preparation has really helped in analyzing and trying to avoid those unintended consequences, knowing that little words matter, making sure that you are analyzing the entire situation, and what effect that could have, especially when we're dealing with statewide legislation. And so in state affairs, we deal with the power grid. That is something, that has been at the top of the minds for many Texans, not only in the summertime, but also in the wintertime as we have had power outages. And so that's a topic that we discuss regularly in our committee. And how do we make our power grid more resilient, more reliable, and especially now as that demand is increasing rapidly with these data centers coming to our state.
And soon we'll be going back to another legislative, agenda. What is a top priority for you and your constituents?
Absolutely. So right now during the legislature, during the interim, we try to maximize our time in being out in the community, attending community events, attending chamber events, and having conversations with our constituents. So we know at the forefront, what are the issues that are more important for our community? And that is making sure that we, secure those resources for our community. For instance, in the last legislative session, I was able to secure $11 million for a flood control project up in the North Channel area, which is very important because here in the Houston area, flooding is a big issue. And so we want to continue bringing those resources back to our community.
Well, Representative, thank you for all that you do. We wish you well the rest of this year. And as you head back to Austin again in January, to the entire delegation for representing us and for your ongoing advocacy for business, which is so very important. And for all that you do and more, we say thank you.
Thank you.
Get ready to make unforgettable memories with your little ones at Elmo's Got the Moves, the all-new Sesame Street live show coming to your neighborhood June 25th, Smart Financial Center at Sugar Land. Tickets on sale now at smartfinancialcenter.net.
It is my honor to recognize David Salmon.
Thank you so much.
Well, you have done an extraordinary job. This bank has just grown at such rapid pace.
In 92, we started buying some banks, and that helped us get started. Today, we're a $40 billion bank, about 4,000 people, and we started with about 10 or 15 people and 40 million. We've had a tremendous amount of success. Hopefully, we helped a lot of people in the process and built something that's lasting, that's going to help a lot of people for the future going forward.
Netflix series star Tyler Henry, the Hollywood medium, is bringing his live show, An Evening of Hope and Healing, to you. Friday, May 29th, Smart Financial Center at Sugar Land. Tickets on sale now at smartfinancialcenter.net.
Hello, I'm Dr. Laura Murillo, President and CEO of the Houston Hispanic Chamber of Commerce. We're so happy to have you all here joining us today. Our guest today is joining us. His name is Jorge Samarillo. He's the founding director of the Smithsonian Institution, and he was in Houston recently talking about some of their big goals and objectives, and we're here to listen and learn more about it. Jorge, thanks for joining us again, and it was great seeing you, and you had a great welcome reception here in Houston most recently.
Yeah, thank you for having me. It was amazing to visit Houston for the first time as part of our Making History tour for the National Museum of America Latino. It was an exciting opportunity to meet the community and all the stakeholders.
Yes, and it was a great turnout for you. And as you know, Houston's a very busy city. We always have so much going on, but people showed up, wanted to learn more. So why don't you tell our audience your goal, what you're trying to do, and what they should know about it?
Well, our goal really is it's an awareness campaign. Our museum was enacted in 2020 by the administration back then, and it created a new museum, the National Museum of American Latino, to talk about our dreams, challenges, the triumphs of U.S. Latinos in this country, and how we're part of the larger American history narrative. And in order to build this museum, not only the fundraising that's required for it, it's about getting people's input and reaching out to Latino communities across the U.S., and how do we get them involved? Because if you live in DC or the East Coast, it's probably a lot easier to know about this museum than the Midwest or Texas or California. So we're making an effort to reach out to these communities. We visited over 50 cities and rural areas in the past 3 years, over 26 different states, and we're going to continue to do that over the next decade as we develop and build this museum.
So what is the timeline for this?
It's a long time. Like for many people, they think it's a long time, right? You say it's a decade, it's 10 or 12 years to build a museum, but that's not really that much time. You know, in 3 or 4 years, we'll start construction. That takes 4 or 5 years. We need to collect all the items, the objects, the artifacts that go into the museum. We need to research these stories, oral histories, develop the interactives. So that takes a lot of time. And we also need to raise, probably over $500 million on the private side alone. And that's matched by a congressional appropriation through Congress. So that's a lot of legwork to get to that point.
So currently on that timeline, what is your biggest focus? You talked about, awareness campaign. The awareness campaign will also bring the philanthropic support, but also introduce you to organizations, individuals. Like, talk to us about that whole process. And are you working on both tracks at the same time?
We are working on both tracks. And for us, the most important thing right now is securing the site where the museum will be built. And right now we have a couple of options. Hopefully in the next few months, we'll finalize that. Because the minute that happens, we can get that momentum keeps going, right? Not only with the fundraising, but then we start hiring an architect and the exhibit designer, and you start seeing it come alive. And then you start seeing the construction and the building coming out of the ground. And that's what keeps us going with that momentum. And at the same time, we have teams in the field, reaching out to these communities, and we have town hall meetings, and we have get together with stakeholders, and I got to see that we had in Houston, right, to meet these community leaders. And at the same time, we're doing professional development with educators and teachers and the communities, and partnering with libraries. So there's so many facets to this campaign, but that's how we get everybody involved.
So what do you think will be, besides the location, because I know that has been an ongoing conversation for years,
Yes.
What do you think is your biggest challenge for this?
Yeah, I think our biggest challenge is getting the buy-in from our community, from Latinos. I always say this museum will work and will succeed only if the 63 million Latinos in this country are behind it. And that's a big goal, right? That's a big aspiration. But you need to make sure that they're aware that in order for their stories to be elevated, for their stories to be seen at the national level, they have to be part of it. They can't just say, don't worry, it'll happen. Someone else will take care of it. That's not the way things work. And we need to make sure that, and when I say the buy-in, that they're invested in it. we build that trust in these communities to make sure we're being authentic.
What does that look like for you, though?
Yeah.
When you say buy-in, is it thumbs up? Is it them opening their wallets? Is them opening corporate doors? A little bit of all of it, I imagine.
Yeah, it is a little bit of everything, but I gotta say the most rewarding part, and we were in Houston last month. It was connecting with people, seeing their joy, their elation, seeing the chorus performing and the mariachi band, and all the groups coming together, all the stakeholders in the community representing what's important to them. And it's just that energy, that positive energy. That's what I call that buy-in, because they're going to then communicate to their friends and family about what's going on. And if they'll go back to work and they'll go back to their connections, and they'll raise awareness for what we're doing over here in DC, which is so difficult for us, right? To connect with everybody. It's almost impossible. But I got to say, our group, our staff, when we leave these cities after having these activations for 3 or 4 days, we come back with so much positive energy, and we know our work is meaningful.
And the buy-in, as you said, will be there, is there. I think, as you mentioned, once you've secured your location, I'm sure for your team, it will feel absolutely real and much more tangible for your audience. And speaking of, let's talk about the museum itself. What is the vision, the expectation, and what will be in that museum if all goes according to plan?
Yeah. Well, our vision is to create a space that really connects with communities, and that's difficult, right? We have a very diverse background, cultural heritage background. I always tell everyone, we have some common ancestors, we have roots that go back throughout Latin America and the Caribbean. But what is that essence that brings us together as U.S. Latinos? And that's what we're trying to figure out. Where do these stories unfold? Where do these cultures and communities connect to create that bigger picture? And that's one of the most exciting parts that we're working on right now with the museum. We're going out now to hire an exhibit designer firm to help us build that narrative. Because it's not chronological, right? We don't all start at the same point, like some other museum do in their storyline. Like I said, we come from different places. Some of us have connections here that go back 500 years. Some of us, like my family, arrived in the 60s. And so that's a completely different story. But, when we get together, we start talking about what we share and our connections. There's so much in common. And that's what we need to bring out in a museum. I always share the story of, if you do Ancestry or 23andMe, one of these services for your DNA testing, I can trace back my great-grandparents and Canary Islands, for instance. But I know that when my grandparents arrived in Cuba, some of their siblings went to Venezuela, to Mexico, to Argentina. So today I have second and third cousins that grew up in completely different countries than my parents did, but we're all in the United States together. And we start making those connections out. We have the common heritage and the things that we grew up with, and the same TV shows that we watched, and the same foods, and the different variations on rice and beans and tamales. And when you put them all together, you realize you have so much more in common that you do not have in common.
Yes, well, we look forward to the continued success and progress, and count on Houston, the very rich and diverse community that is Houston and Texas. So many stories, so many success stories, entrepreneurs, leaders. And so we look forward to being part of your success and the ongoing introductions to corporate America to open their pocketbooks to people who have contributed in so many ways financially to keep those corporations moving and going. And we hope that they reciprocate by investing in this museum that is long, long overdue. And Jorge, we appreciate you leading the charge and know that you've got millions of Latinos by your side.
Well, thank you for your support. It means so much to us.
Thank you so much. We'll see you soon. On behalf of the Houston Hispanic Chamber of Commerce, I'd like to thank you for joining us. I'm Dr. Laura Murillo. Please visit our website and join us very soon at our next upcoming event. See you very soon. Goodbye and thank you.
It is my honor to recognize David Saltman.
Thank you so much.
Well, you have done an extraordinary job. This bank has just grown at such rapid pace.
In '92, we started buying some banks, and that helped us get started. Today, we're a $40 billion bank, about 4,000 people, and we started with about 10 or 15 people and 40 million. We've had a tremendous amount of success. Hopefully, we helped a lot of people in the process and built something that's lasting, that's going to help a lot of people for the future going forward.
Put the baby away. I got some jokes for your ass. Wouldn't it be cool if Mike Tyson was a uncle of yours or something, and somebody was with you? All you had to do was run in the house. Mike, stop crying. What happened? And I had low testosterone, slow leak in my balls, and the only way to fix it was with some Fix-A-Flat. Tell me you love me. Tell me you love me. You all right?
Hello, I'm Dr. Laura Murillo, President and CEO of the Houston Hispanic Chamber of Commerce. One of the best things about the opportunity to serve as President and CEO is that I get to meet some extraordinary people, great folks who are doing some really interesting work in the city. And one group is, of course, our Houston, Texas. We've had 2 super seasons recently, and I'm going to credit Gloria, who's new to the team, Gloria Flores, who's the Texan Senior Fan Development Manager, and say, I don't know if it's because you're on the team now or part of the group that they're doing well or what's happening, but don't change anything. The wins have been extraordinary. And for the fans are just nothing like a Houston Texans fan. There's just nothing like
Right.
it. Gloria, thanks for joining us, and we appreciate you. And tell us about your role for folks that may not be familiar.
We have the most incredible fans. Thank you, first of all, Dr. Maria, for such an incredible introduction. But yes, we've had 2 phenomenal seasons. We have the best fans in the league. And so my title is, as you mentioned, Senior Fan Development Manager. And so what my role really focuses on is really everything to tie in with our fan engagement efforts, and especially within the Hispanic community. So really growing the brand within the Hispanic community, not only here in Houston, but regionally and internationally with our efforts in Mexico.
Yes. So let's talk about that. It's a global sport. I mean, anywhere you go, people understand the NFL. In Houston, because we're such an international city, I would imagine it has even more appeal. So what are some of the things that you all are doing to capitalize on that global presence?
So, I mean, it's no secret that Houston is one of the most diverse cities in the country. At the NFL, it really has a major focus on growing internationally. And so you've seen that with a lot of international games now happening during the season. And of course, they also have established something that is the Global Markets Program. So as part of the Global Markets Program, the league offers teams like us, like the Houston Texans, the opportunity to be able to go into a country and really bring that brand awareness and grow the fandom within that country. And so for us at the Houston Texans, you know, we thought long and hard about where were we going to start first. And of course, we went with our neighbors in Mexico for many reasons, but primarily because there is just such a strong connection between Houston and Mexico. And so we obtained our Global Markets Program rights in 2022. And since then, the team has really focused on making a strong effort to go into the market and be able to grow the brand, but also be able to do things for the community there. So like right now, our big focus has really been on impulsing and really growing girls flag football. And so as that's one of our primary focuses here in the States and regionally as well, is taking that over to Mexico and also empowering young women there.
It's extraordinary. I've traveled with the team to Mexico specifically, and the droves of fans that come out is impressive. There is nothing like that. And I don't think perhaps enough people in the US really can appreciate and understand the size of the stadiums that hold 100,000 people, and every seat is taken, and the streets are just mayhem, and it's just exhilarating what an experience for our players, for our team. And again, as you mentioned, it's good for business. It's good for the recognition with the World Cup soon arriving in Houston. It just continues to put Houston on that international map for business.
Most definitely. And, we haven't, as you know, Estadio Azteca just went through a huge renovation and just had their first game recently there. But so now we're looking forward that, eventually NFL is definitely going to be going back to Mexico City, but you've also seen it expand to other countries like Spain and Australia. It's going to Australia. It's going to Ireland for the first time. And so there's just the game is growing, and it's just so fun to witness and to see all of that. And I think that's why you also saw that, this past Super Bowl, you saw a big global artist like Bad Bunny take a part of it, right? Because it's all about the global expansion that the league is having. And for us at the Houston Texans, I think really being able to connect with our fans in Mexico, have really focused and honed in on Monterrey just because of the natural connection that exists between Houston and Monterrey. And so really being able to go out there and be able to do some special things for the fans and for the young girls there that are playing flag as well.
Well, the Houston Hispanic Chamber of Commerce recently hosted the governor of Nuevo León, Samuel Garcia, and a delegation who came here to talk about all of the upgrades, expansions, the completions of their stadiums, et cetera. And as you mentioned, the two countries being so close in proximity, our airports that are now flying direct with multiple flights throughout the day just make it easier for our Houstonians to go there and vice versa. And at the end of the day, as mentioned, it's great for business. And we know that the number one growing fan base for the Texans and most sporting entities are Hispanics. And so the fact that you all are doubling down, making sure that you're embracing that fan base and again, winning changes everything. And so that definitely allows the growth and expansion. And the flag football is just extraordinary for our young ladies to also have that experience. And now with your Chief Community Officer, tell us about that.
Well, again, I think, Mrs. Hannah McNair has just done so much for girls flag football, really, being the leader behind the She's Next brand. And then now we get to take the She's Next brand to Mexico because we've labeled She's Next Mexico, which is actually all of our efforts pertaining to empowering those young ladies in Mexico. And so just being able to grow it, not only here in Houston, but, we're doing phenomenal things regionally with She's Next as well, as we try and move forward and really cheer on to really make, sanction and make flag football, girls flag football, UIL sport in Texas, really championing behind that and then growing the efforts in Mexico.
Well, glory to you, the entire Houston, Texas team. Thank you for all you do. Thank you for the partnership that we have with you all. It's so important, and we continue to promote business opportunities. And certainly having the Houston, Texas in this great city just brings so much energy and excitement. So we look forward to seeing you very soon, whether it's here or in Mexico, but we look forward to seeing you soon. Thank you.
Thank you so much. I appreciate you having me.
Get ready to make unforgettable memories with your little ones at Elmo's Got the Moves, the all-new Sesame Street live show coming to your neighborhood June 25th, Smart Financial Center at Sugar Land. Tickets on sale now at smartfinancialcenter.net.
The Houston Hispanic Chamber of Commerce is the leading advocate for the Hispanic business community. In Houston, we represent over $54 billion per year in consumer spending. Our thanks to our board and staff for making sure we elevate business and advocate for a stronger economy.
Soy el jefe de jefes, señores.
Put the baby away. I got some jokes for you. Yeah. Wouldn't it be cool if Mike Tyson was an uncle of yours or something, and somebody was with you? All you had to do was run in the house. Mike, stop crying. What happened?
And I had low testosterone, slow leak in my balls. And the only way to fix it was with some Fix-A-Flat.
Tell me you love me. Tell me you love me.